Welcome to the E.A.T podcast. This is episode number 10. I'm your host, Jerry, and today's guest really needs no introduction besides greatest of all time, the GOAT. But I'm going to give it a try, so here we go. He's got the nice life you and I could only dream of, yet he's living it. A New York Times bestselling author, a philanthropist who's raised over $50 million for various charities during events he's emceed or either hosted as well. A successful investor, an advisory board member on almost a dozen companies. He's got his own clothing line, a poker resume that ages like a fine wine. The Hendon Mob has him ranked 20th on the all-time money list. He's made over $24 million in live earnings. He has a World Series of Poker record, 15 bracelets, 165 World Series of Poker cashes, almost 70 final tables. In 1989, he had one of the most iconic victories when he defeated two-time defending champion Johnny Chan and won the World Series of Poker main event at the age of 24 years old to become the youngest main event champion in history at that time. In 2007, he was inducted into the World Series of Poker Hall of Fame. He's known for his elaborate World Series of Poker grand entrances. And in 2012, his World Series of Poker main event bracelet win in Europe put him in the history books as the only person with bracelets in both the World Series of Poker and World Series of Poker Europe main events. And in 2015, I watched him live and in person win bracelet number 14. And since then, he's added one more to his collection. He's none other than the greatest of all time at poker, Mr. Positivity, the Poker Brat. Welcome to the E.A.T podcast, Phil Hellmuth.
Well, what an introduction. When I make a final table, they at the World Series, they give everybody and so they go, oh, C1, he's cashed two times for La-da-da. Oh, C2, he won a bracelet. 3, he has like lifetime earnings of 150,000. And then they get to me and they go on and on and on and on. So for me, it's best for me to have the headphones on and just be standing outside. You don't want to get you listen to that stuff and then you think, wow, I'm cool. That's my latest thing is I'm cool. And
you
don't want to be thinking. You don't want to be thinking that way. I mean, I can't. My wife and I have been talking about my ego, and I can't. I have this big match with Daniel, and I just can't allow myself to feel too good about myself until after that match, June 23rd.
So, quick story, real quick, just for the listeners and you as well. A few weeks ago, you tweeted the picture of the Aria photo shoot you did for Hustler magazine, and I saw your tweet. And within 3 seconds of seeing it, I basically sent you a tweet. And I said, hey, Phil, I got a podcast. Would love to have you on. Where can I send an email? And within 3 seconds of sending that to you, you liked it. And within 5 seconds or so of that, I had an email from you, from a nondescript email. And I went, oh, my God, I have an email. My wife and my sister-in-law are sitting with me in the kitchen as I'm telling them this story. And my sister-in-law, she goes, that's not him. That's a scam. That's someone fishing for your bank account information. You better lock everything down. And my wife, who's always right, she's always right. She says, no, that's Phil Hellmuth. You better take this very seriously and send a reply now. And you're here with me, so it really was you.
Yeah. I try to respond to people, to interview requests on Twitter. I don't always do it perfectly, but I try to respond to that stuff. And I used to have all these people that worked for me, I still have a lot of help, but I used to have a personal assistant that set up everything. And then, when she left, 5 or 6 years ago, I'm like, this isn't so hard to arrange a flight. This isn't so hard to do this. This isn't so hard to do that. But I haven't had the pressure of, back then when she worked for me, I felt like I was working 350 days out of 365 days.
Wow.
With various stuff. It's not all work. Having a lot of fun, right? If you consider shooting a commercial work or hosting a party work or writing a blog work. But I was working hard. And, And yeah. So I mean, I'm like now I'm even more busy, but I'm managing somehow to get most of the stuff done myself.
I think you're doing a fine job. You're here with me now, so I mean, it's working.
Yeah.
So,
That and I let myself sleep 10 hours every day. So, you know.
oh, that's good. So, you've had some grand entrances for the World Series of Poker. You went in as General Patton. You were a race car driver. You were Thor. You were a mixed martial arts fighter. Came dressed as Julius Caesar. I got to ask you, when you were Julius Caesar, were you wearing underwear underneath all that?
Oh, I had to be. I had to be. I had to be. But you know, the biggest compliment to me on the Julius Caesar is Norman Chad, who's always mean to me. On the, in real life, we get along really well, and we've done a bunch of charity events together. But he's always mean to me. He always takes the Phil's cocky. I'm going to smash him up. You know, he takes the attitude of, hey, Middle America, you're not allowed to be cocky. You know, in England, being cocky's bad. In Australia, being cocky is bad. I know the countries where being cocky is bad, and and so then he's like, hey, well, Phil, he said something about about poker players look pretty buff, because I was working out, I was in pretty good shape then, and I was like, yeah, I look good. And Norman said something. I wonder if he even knew he gave me a compliment by accident.
I got to ask you, do you have any plans for this year yet? Are you thinking about anything, or are you set on something?
Something's going to happen this year. I can tell
Okay.
you. Now that's 80% chance something's going to happen this year. I'm looking
Okay.
at signing a big deal with somebody, and then they're going to want me to make an entry, sure.
Okay.
And so I have no idea what that would look like. First, let me sign the contract, and then second, let's see. Actually, I can just tell you it's 100% I'm coming into something. So,
Okay. It's something, but you just can't really reveal what it is yet.
It's funny, I tell my wife, you wait. So I have these two huge contracts on the table, and for big money. And I'm like, hey, honey, we only worked 35 years to put ourselves in position to get money overnight. I mean, lucky and make up 200 million bucks, on these contracts. And that's
Oh
way out
yeah.
of. And so, but it's taken just a long time. And listen, I've been very lucky and blessed financially, and I'm a part of a lot of companies. I've worked hard. But yeah, my joke to my wife is we worked 35 years to put ourselves in a position to make a lot of money overnight.
I'm gonna get into those companies in a few minutes, but I want to ask you something. So Chamath is your best friend and
Yep.
someone who's very successful at many things. Is he going to be, or is he just about this generation's Warren Buffett?
I think he has a great chance to be this generation's Warren Buffett. I'm proud of him. He's a really good human being, and people that rise, and he's risen slowly, but just recently he's risen very quickly in the social media. He was behind me, and just went flying past me in social media, and then tripled me or something. And so there'd be some heat. There's going to be haters. There's going to be hate. And when his investments that people are following investing and do really well, then they're happy. And then when they do poorly, it's his fault.
And then
That's
the trolls come out.
Yes, it's not really his fault, of course. But so yeah, I mean, I think Chamath has a shot to be. He's a super clear communicator. He's a super genius. He's a great guy. He's working hard on. I'm proud to have him as a best friend, and I think I think he will do that. I think he has a chance to be this generation's Warren Buffett.
Do you give him some poker advice for financial tips? Is that the deal you guys have?
I mean, we've been hanging out since what, 2008, 2009. And it's well publicized that we've been playing poker together since 08, 09. It's been written about in books and articles all over the world. But I, so I mean, he's a heck of a poker player, honestly, and many days. And one day he busted me, I think, 5 times in the first half an hour. It was very annoying. It was very annoying. But no, he has poker skills, and yeah, I mean, like, any of my friends that play poker with me, any of the guys, I help any of them, and I'll reach out to them and talk to them. And so I would say that, our home game has if our home game goes and plays any other home game anywhere, our guys are going to do well, and no limit hold'em, because I've coached everybody up.
Okay. So just a few days ago, you started tweeting about the Hellmuth portfolio companies, and this is a total of 25 from what I'm seeing. You're currently on 11 advisory boards, and you have sponsor money in 3 SPACs. From all of that you're invested in, can you tell us one or two companies that you're most excited about, and which one or ones have the potential to be the biggest, and why?
Wow, there's a lot of companies I'm excited about. One I haven't mentioned yet, Genie's just raised $65 million. But the biggest one, the one of the most money right now, is Genius Sports, and they basically have a duopoly. There's 2 companies on the planet, Genius Sports and Sports Radar, that give information. So Genius Sports, signed an exclusive deal with the NFL to be the official broadcast rights. Now, people said they overpaid 5 or 10x for that deal, for that exclusive deal, but it puts them on the map. We already have deals with the NBA, the Premier League, all these other leagues. And so Genius Sports, which I'm involved in through the SPACs, has been fun to watch because it's my biggest public, and maybe I'll get lucky and make 5 or 10 million on that deal. And so that's been kind of, that's fun to watch it go up. I always thought on the SPAC side, and we're talking about publicly traded companies, with Genius Sports, that's GENI, and then Rush Street Interactive.
Yeah.
I always thought, that one would crush, and I have a huge investment there. And and then there's so much excitement happening with all my portfolio companies, and it's just like every week there's a big announcement, and so that's been really fun for me. But it's taken me a long time to relate all these companies, to be invested in these companies. I'm joining another SPAC as a senior advisor, and I can't talk about with who or when that's going to happen, but I can say that look for that announcement in the next couple of months. That's fun. I've been asked to join a venture capital firm, and given a piece of that venture capital firm. That's a really big deal. To be
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I don't know. I like my lane, right? I want to be the greatest poker player of all time. That's the center lane. But I find myself, because I love my wife, because I've been happily married 31 years, because I want to be home. And we live in Northern California. I have great friends up here. Because of that, I have 7-8 months out of the year that I can do business stuff. So it's been kind of an amazing run for me to be involved in so many different companies. And like you said, I'm releasing all the names of all the companies. And it's been really fun. I've helped a lot of young entrepreneurs, and then they tell other young entrepreneurs, and then they come to me, and then I'll get a point or two in the company to be an advisor, and I'll provide real value. Another one that's really fun is fluid form. So we 3D print heart valves using cartilage.
I saw that one the other day. Yes.
Crazy. You talk about, these guys are the cutting edge of the planet, and we're talking to all these major companies about, there's just so much potential here. And, and we've 3D printed heart valves and put them inside pigs. So, it's kind of nice in vivo and in vitro, actually having some inside the body. And I looked at that and I thought, why are they talking to me? They have these industry specific, but I provided a lot of value for them. I helped them a lot, and that weapon. But yeah, no, I opened up my network and brought in some very powerful people, and helped them raise some money. But that one's changing the world. So the first time I looked, and I'm like, wow, this could be $1 trillion company.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That's definitely a big deal. Hey,
can you imagine?
We're talking
3D printing stuff that we're going to put in the body.
Yeah, you don't need a transplant. You don't need to match. You don't need. You're going to bypass a bunch of things that would be a necessity, and could delay somebody or prevent somebody from getting something. Sure.
And they're one of my favorite slides that they show, that Fluid Form shows. Fluid Form is the name of the company. One of my favorite slides is the one where they show the stuff that didn't work. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to put wood in the body, to put metal in the body? No, you put all this plastics in the body, right? You're putting all this stuff in the body, and guess what? You need drugs because the bloodstream's attacking that foreign substance, which is not meant to be inside of a body. And so, and so a lot of people, I think, went about this the wrong way, and they're on the cutting edge. Every time there's a breakthrough, Fluid Form is all over it because it fits their model. Anyway, all right. That's just a few, but yeah, I'm excited about a lot of the companies, honestly.
Okay. You've mentioned you're in talks about getting involved in a crypto coin. How is that going?
Well, I was hoping that I'd be able to announce that today on the contract. So I'm just going to off on that. But yeah, no. So if I do sign,
so we got potential breaking news here, but I can't get you to spill the beans.
Yeah, if I do sign with these guys, and I'm excited to sign, then I will go to Miami. Today I'm going to San Diego for a wedding.
Okay.
And then Thursday I would go to Miami. There's a huge crypto conference. I've already been invited to the two biggest parties down there, two of the 3 or 4 biggest parties down there. And I would be rolling with another poker player down there, Tom Dwan. And love
Big
that
name.
guy. And so he's doing a lot of cryptos. Yeah. And so, it would be, let's just see. I mean, if I sign with these guys, then I can make an announcement. It'll be on my social media today or tomorrow. And then I'll go to Miami for the crypto conference, and I'll start wearing the coin on the side of my hat, and some other places too.
So over the years, you've met some big celebrities. You met Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Elon Musk. You met Presidents Clinton, Bush. I get a 3-part question for you. What celebrity have you met that's been really down to earth and you could just have a normal conversation with that people wouldn't think is that guy?
Elon Musk. Elon's very normal. Like, he stares you in the eyes. Like, I mean, a lot of people, when you meet them, they're looking for who else is walking in the room. They're looking past you to see who else is walking in the room. And the people that can just stare you in the eyes, and I try to do this myself now when I meet people, just stare them in the eyes and give them a minute, and connect. But I'm, if I'm at a party, I'm not gonna spend, 30 minutes talking to somebody, unless. But the point is to connect with that person. A lot of times people come up and, hey, I'm a massive fan of yours, Phil, and you want to look them in the eyes. You know what I mean? And pay attention to them. And then Elon Musk is another level. And so, when he met my wife, he stared her in the eyes, and he just wants to talk. And a lot of these really, really, really rich and really, really famous guys, they don't want to be dwelling on the fact that they're superstars, that they're rich, that they're famous. They want a group of friends they can laugh with, tease each other, and get to the human side, the humanness there, right? That's a 3-part.
Who haven't you met yet well, no. Here's the second part. Who haven't you met yet that you want to bump into?
There's not a lot of people on that list, honestly.
I know the list you've met is impressive. I mean, I see you hanging out with Drake. I see you hanging out with everybody, and I'm thinking to myself, is there a guy he hasn't met yet that he wants to bump into?
I guess I wanted to say hello to Aaron Rodgers. I missed him in Vegas once. I was, I work at Aria, and so, I wear a hat for Aria, and I stay there, and I do love Aria, and so. I was so there was Michael Jordan's golf tournament. So, Dr. J, all these people. And I mean, it's kind of cool for me because I'm fans of a lot of these guys, but they're also fans of mine, right? It's pretty cool how there's the back and forth of that. And I told one guy, I said, hey, if Aaron Rodgers shows up, I want to say hello to him. And so I took a nap, and I woke up and my phone had, there's been 15 texts come say Aaron Rodgers, he wants to say hello, stuff, and I missed it. But I mean, whatever. It's like there's not really that many. I'd like to meet Vladimir Putin. just to say hello and have a conversation.
Okay.
And so there's a few world leaders that I'd like to meet.
Have you met anybody that you would admit to that has been like a complete dick to you, and you were like, all right, I wish I never ran into that guy? Has anyone been that guy that you're like, wow? Would you tell us, or is that something you don't want to?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think. Here's the thing: people can have bad reputations, all right, but then when they meet me, they're on their best behavior, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't really meet people that are rude to me personally. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It just doesn't happen. And so it's like, if I'm with somebody, if I'm walking along and all of a sudden I see somebody and and they're with a superstar or whatever, and they're like, that's Hellmuth, that's Hellmuth, that's Hellmuth, you got to meet him, you got to say hello. Then, or the superstar himself sees me and says that, then it's not. I just haven't had too many transactions like that, too many negativity, too many negative stuff like that.
Okay.
But I am aware of people's reputations as well. But I don't hold that against them. I meet people at face value, and so it's kind of weird. I really haven't had many negative meetings.
You've been married to your wife, Catherine, for 31 years, and in your book, Positivity, you state that you're a family man. You're not unfaithful. Your family is one of your biggest blessings. If your wife gave you the okay for one night, who's your celebrity crush?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I don't know if I should really repeat that. I mean,
all right. I had to ask. I like to change things up a little bit and ask you the questions I know you haven't been asked before.
I do have two celebrity crushes. Actually, both of them I've met, and yeah. So I mean, like, everybody has the list. A lot of couples have this list. Well, 5 famous people, and then the wife's like, well, if I'm with these 5 famous people, and so you have like everybody has this like deal. Not everybody, but a lot of couples. And I started meeting those people.
All right.
And my wife's like,
okay.
No, we don't have that deal anymore.
So your book, Positivity.
That's part of my identity. My wife and a lot of people are like, Phil, you say it too much. You've never cheated on me. Why do you have that all the time? Are you trying to virtue signal? Are you trying to do this? You're trying to do that. And I don't know. I'm kind of proud of that. I mean, I think
it's something to be proud of. Absolutely.
Family
is very important
for a long time, and so you run into a lot of models and actresses, and and some show a lot of interest, and then I'm like, I think also my wife and I don't know. I feel like there's a power. I get some. What's the word for it? They consider it kind of a bad word right now. Entitlement. Entitlement's not a bad word.
No.
Entitlement, almost everybody that's achieved great things has a sense of entitlement. And so, what you want to have is there's a negative sense of entitlement, but there's a positive sense of entitlement. And part of my entitlement, I'm like, why shouldn't I be the greatest poker player of all time? Why shouldn't I win my 15th bracelet? I'm loyal to my wife. I'm honest. I'm authentic. I'm a really good guy. And so, by doing everything right, I talk about this in my book, Positivity, then I say, why not me? Why shouldn't I be the greatest? Why shouldn't I make $1 billion? I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not to
in your book
billion yet, but
in your book, Positivity.
That's not a goal. Becoming a billionaire is not a goal for me. But why shouldn't I have companies that I have a piece of that become worth $1 trillion?
In your book, Positivity, which I just read twice over the weekend. If no one has read it, or if anyone has read it, I'd suggest reading it again or reading it for the first time. It's 8 simple yet powerful techniques that you've used and that we should all use. It's not just about poker.
It's 8 life tips, right? I mean,
it's 8 life tips. It's a lifestyle. It's a quick read. It's
70 minutes.
It's a book that shows you.
And the subtitle.
It's a book that shows you how.
Go ahead.
It's a book that shows you how bad it is to hate others and the wisdom of forgiving them. It's the power of yearly goals, how to write up your pyramid of success, how we're all in the right place at the right time, and how to be ready for serendipitous moments, how to take the critical first steps towards your goals and dreams, and how to keep your ego under control and your head down after you do achieve success. And in the book, you state, you are what you think, you become what you think, and what you think becomes reality. Most people don't think like this. And I'm asking you, have you always thought about this? Was there a moment in your life at a certain age or a certain poker event or life event, maybe getting married, where this clicked and you went, I have to start thinking like this? When did this whole mindset start and the lifestyle start?
Well, I mean, when I was 7 years old, my mom had the sign on the bathroom mirror saying, "You are what you think. You become what you think. What you think becomes reality." That was on the bathroom mirror as I grew up. And so I saw it every single day. You know, brush your teeth, take a shower every single day, you know. And so I think it had a profound impact on me and my brothers and sisters. You look at my brother, he has 60 attorneys working for him. He has his own law firm, Hellmuth and Johnson in Minneapolis. You know, my sister has, you know, a law degree and a PhD. And my other sister is the best, one of the best, 5 best water engineers in the world. And, you know, and goes to Africa to help countries. And
Wow.
so I think that, you know, there was something there. And my other sister, Ann, is a Special Olympian. She's won a bunch of gold medals. She's been to the World Games, you know, in Alaska. And,
Wow.
and so it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool to watch the family flourish. And part of that is, you know, being taught from an early age what we think can become reality. You know, that's a huge, huge, huge thing to grow up with. And
Yep.
so if I can think that this is going to happen, put effort into making this happen, and then actually making it happen, and then it happens again and again and again and again, you think bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's kind of the way, you know, I remember writing my goals, you know, in 1987. You know, I wanted to write a New York Times bestseller. That was like, I hadn't even, my best grade in English class was a C, but I did it. I
You
wanted
did
to
it.
become, I wanted to win the main event. I did it. I wanted to meet
Yep.
and marry an amazing woman. 31 years later, I knew she was amazing from day one, but I can tell you she's amazing. You know, those were some simple goals: own an amazing house, own an amazing car. Those were pretty easily achieved. And so, you know, I think that, you know, um, understanding that you're in the right place at the right time, looking for those serendipitous moments, you know, and being ready for them is what I'm really trying to teach everyone in the world.
In your book, you state that one of your goals is 24 World Series of Poker bracelets. Why 24? Why that number?
That just kind of came to me, the 24. And you know, I don't know. I just kind of thought, I don't know, I'm going to win 24. And right away, I mean, I won 3 in 1 year. And then I don't know, I just kind of thought that I'd win 24. I don't know why exactly. It
Okay.
was almost like a vision, but that sounds weird. Phil had a vision he was going to win 24 world championships.
Hey,
I don't
if you
know.
land on 24, that's going to be a hell of a story.
I can't explain it, you know. One time I was in a tournament in Europe, the main event in 2012, I think, is the year I won it. Is that what it says there?
When you won the World Series of Poker in Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
2012. Yep,
all right,
2012.
2012. So the night before the event starts, I sit down and I play some Chinese poker in the lobby of the hotel. And we're in Cannes. We're in a great hotel. We're right there. And I don't know. I lost a quick like $18,000, you know, and so maybe it was 22,000, whatever. I was a little annoyed, and so I played with you know, a Russian guy named Sergey, and then an American guy and another Russian guy, and I lost, so I paid right away. But Sergey pulls me aside and he's like, "I have vision, Phil. I have vision. You are going to win the main event. I am going to finish second." What the hell? So I mean, I'm in a bad mood. I'm just annoyed because I just lost 22,000 to the guy, and there's no hatred, but I just hate losing. You know, I don't have any
Hmm.
negative thoughts about him, but now I'm like, all right, somebody told me that there's 500 people in this tournament. You know, come on. And Sergey Baranov, and he'd never even, like, I was thinking to myself, I don't even think he'd ever cashed in a no limit hold'em tournament, you know? So I'm just like, what is this? And then after day one, I'm still in there and I'm like top 20 chips and he's like number 3. And he comes and he says, number 1, number 2. You number 1, me number 2. He's telling me this and he keeps telling me. After day 2, I'm 4th in chips and he's 1st in chips. He comes up to me and says, you will win. I will finish 2nd. And now he keeps and now as the tables start to combine and we get down to like 10 tables, he's over at my table telling me this like 5 times a day. You will win. I will finish 2nd. Now we got down to 3 tables, right? Now I'm starting to believe him. I'm like, what is this? The craziest thing I've ever heard, right? Well, we get down to the final table and I'm like, this is absolutely amazing. You could never predict.
Yeah.
This random guy comes up and we both made the final table. That's incredible. And then all of a sudden we're down to 5-handed. And now we have 6-handed. Now we're at day 5 or whatever. It's a global audience watching. Then we're down to 4-handed. And Sergey and I are 1 and 2 in chips.
Holy
and I'm
cow.
like, this is just bizarre. And then they say, hey, we need to take a 2-hour break because we're going to take this live all around the globe. You going for this bracelet. So we take a 2-hour, great for me. I went right upstairs and took a 2-hour nap. And so I came back fresh. Well, you can't believe this. It comes down to he and I heads up.
He was
and
right.
I'm just like, this is just bizarre. And he's like, hey, do you want to save a little bit of money? At that point, sometimes you say, all right, it's very standard in poker tournaments throughout history where if the first place is like, say, in this case, 1.5 million and second is 750, you save a little bit because 750,000 is a lot to play heads up for. So I was like, well, he's been telling me for 6 days that he's going to finish second. I don't need to save, but I'm like, of course I'm going to save with him an amount that he's happy with. And I don't know what it was. I had a 2-to-1 chip lead and maybe we saved 200,000 to 100,000. So if he won, I'd get an extra 200. If he won, he's get an extra 100, something like that, whatever. And then we played and then I won it and he finished second. And I'm just like, this is incredible because no one has ever come up to me and said, it's one thing to come up to somebody and say, I think you're going to win. That's already a crazy prediction. But then to come up and say first and second, and then to have it come to pass.
Yeah.
That was just freaking bizarre. And so, man, I haven't talked about the story in a couple of years, but that was just crazy. And I tip my hat to you, Sergey Baranov. Thank you, my friend. That was amazing, you know?
So if you, let's just say for argument's sake, you would have hit 24 bracelets in the next couple of years. Is that the end? Or you still want to play, even though the goal is 24, that's not like an end point for you, right?
24 is kind of a vision I had. And there's no way I'm going to quit. I'm going to play until I can't play anymore, you know, whenever that is. Okay. And hopefully I stay healthy, you know, to age 90. Hopefully I become the oldest winner of World Series of Poker event, you know, hopefully I win one when I'm 87 or something. But, you know, Phil Ivey came out and said, hey, it casually mentioned like 3 or 4 years ago, he said, hey, maybe I'll win 30 bracelets. Maybe he said that 6-7 years ago. And I was like,
good luck.
I was like, shit. Because Ivy's a great player, man. And he's on 10 already. And he won 3 in 1 year. And he's like, maybe I'll just win 30. And I was like, oh, God. Now I thought, okay. I mean, before I thought 24 is enough to just separate me from everybody on the planet. And right now I'm 15 to 3 guys at 10.
Yep.
And but I got to keep going because guys like Ivy and, you know, guys like Daniel Negreanu, and there's some really young guys out there that have some amazing skill. And so you just got to keep putting them up and just see what happens. But I'm prepared to win 30. Yeah.
Well, I hope you do. Another goal from what I've seen on your website, philhellmuth.com, is to raise $100 million for charity. And you've already passed the halfway point of that. Besides the bracelet count of 24 and $100 million for charity, which you will eventually hit, what is something you haven't accomplished yet that you're looking forward to accomplish? Something that big?
Well, let's just go to this. I think I'm at 64 million for charity events. We haven't updated the website lately, but it's around 64 million. Makes me feel incredible.
It's amazing.
Let's come back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, entitlement. I'm the guy that's raising $64 million for charity. Does that mean I do all the work on the back end? Does that mean no? But when I show up and MC these events, I've had the events in New York have said, Phil, because of you, we made an extra $500,000.
That's
And I'm
great.
like, wow. And, and so I feel really, really great about that. I've also charged a lot of, I'll charge 25K to MC events, but whatever I've made, say $1 million doing that, we've given $1.5 million to charity. So we're way ahead of the curve, but I can't show up to New York. I mean, I'm just busy. But anyway, I felt really, 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 really great about my relationship. It's an honest relationship. A lot of people out there don't talk about. And so when I say, hey, well, I charge a few charities, and I get criticism, and I'm like, don't people understand that the celebrities don't fly across the country for free? I mean,
Yep.
I feel great because I don't know what they've done, but I know that I've given 1 point charities myself. Now let's cut back to your question because it was a good question. I think that, yeah, I mean, a stupendous, well, a huge goal, stupendous kind of almost sounds like it's impossible. I could use that word. I would like my book Positivity. I would like to sell 1 million, 2 million. I'd like to sell millions of copies. We have to get to 100,000 first. But I'd like to sell millions of copies. I would like to be influencing the world, not just in 2019, 2021. I would like to be known for two things: the greatest book of all time, and I would like my book, just like Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is still being used. I would like my book Positivity, which contains universal truth, to still have people reading it and to still be changing people's lives for the better, still be teaching people that they're in the right place at the right time. So that's you talk about an outrageous goal. I want book Positivity being sold 100 years from now. I want to influence, hundreds of millions of people's lives for the better.
That's a good one. That's a good goal. In 2015, I had the honor and joy of witnessing you win bracelet number 14. It's, as a poker fan myself, it was I want to say an out of body experience, because you see it on TV, you see everything the way it is, and then to just be there and be sitting in the crowd and see you win number 14 was something. And you donated that bracelet to your friend who recently, a short time before that, passed away, David Goldberg. Do you have all of your other bracelets, and which one are you most proud of?
So just recently, so I've given all the bracelets away. My mom,
Okay.
my dad, my brothers, that's 6. My sons, that's 8, and other relatives and friends. The one bracelet I never collected was from the 1997 or 19. I think I won one in 1997 or 98. Never collected that from the horseshoe, and so that one got kind of lost in the dust. By the way, I'm on 1% on battery, so maybe we're live, aren't we? So
We are
hold on
live.
a second. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick, I'll talk, but I'm going to put a charger on this thing. We can do this. And so, you talk about, so I mean, giving that bracelet away, we lost Dave Goldberg. I was supposed to give that bracelet to my friend Bill Lee. Bill Lee, who's one of the best angel investors in history. Bill Lee, who's a great friend of mine. He's also a great friend of Elon Musk's. And that bracelet was going to Bill Lee. And I woke up that day and Goldie had died, in May. And, Goldie and I and Chamath were supposed to open a conference together, the Founders Conference, on stage together, the three of us. Mm-hmm. And so that was pretty special for me to be opening a business conference. It was supposed to be the three of us. They were in Mexico, and then Goldie died. And so about a month later, everybody flew home and attended the funeral. I've never seen a funeral. It had 4 news trucks outside. He profoundly helped so many people. Just the class act of class acts, Dave Goldie, and was one of the center of our friendship group, and was just helped everyone. The founder of Qualtrics, who just bought, I think, the Utah Jazz, Ryan was telling me about how he had he was his biggest competitor. but Goldie was amazing, and Ryan had Qualtrics feature Goldie on their front page for a week, their biggest competitor. That's the kind of guy he was, you know. I think you'd call him, you know, an Ubermensch or whatever, but amazing, amazing, amazing guy. And so then I woke up at the final. I woke one night. I went to bed and I was at the final table of a Raz tournament, and I just woke up and I said, "This needs to go to Sheryl Sandberg." Now, Sheryl Sandberg is, you know, one of the biggest names in the world in business.
Yep. Facebook.
The CEO of Facebook, and she's tremendous. And you know, I have a great relationship with the family. And so anyway, I woke up and I called Bill and I said, "Hey, Bill, I apologize. If I win the bracelet today," first I called Chamath and I'm like, "Hey, Chamath, if I win this, I'm going to give it to Cheryl." And he's like, "Don't mention her name unless you win." You know what I mean? Because it's going to seem like you're trading off of her fame or whatever. And, you know.
Okay.
And so I said, "I won't. If I win, though, I will mention it." And then I called Bill and I said, "I'm sorry. You know, I know this was, if I win today, it was supposed to be your bracelet, but I have to give it to Goldie's family." And Bill's like, "I completely understand." And so when I won that bracelet, I announced I was giving it to Sheryl Sandberg, and you know, and Sheryl I know that they're building a small poker room in one of their houses, and they're like, you know, and they're going to feature the bracelet, so it's pretty cool. They're going to have it, you know, they have it kind of in a glass, you know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. Yeah, giving it to him, it just felt right. You know, by the way, I think it was my 12th or 13th bracelet, the main event bracelet from 2012. I gave to Chamath. Occasionally I go over to his house and I see it lying around over there, and that one's the most bejeweled of all the bracelets. And I'm like, yeah, you know.
So let me ask you, a while back there were rumors of you doing Dancing with the Stars. Is that a show you would still do today, or there's even that show now, The Masked Singer, where people wear extravagant costumes and people have to guess who they are singing, you know, random songs from the 80s, 90s, or whatever. Would you do that? Would you do either of those?
I mean, if I, you know, I mean, I guess I'd have to sing this. Way up, I feel blessed. Way up, I feel blessed. And you hear people sing songs, right? And you think, wow, they're a great singer, but and then you find out they only really have one song, right? So that's the only song I know that I sound okay at, right? Every other song, you know, I'm not a singer. I rap a lot. I'm on the mic all the time. These charity events, I've done 175 events, 200 events for charities and for the biggest companies. You know, I do events for, you know, Microsoft, Samsung, Bain, Tiger Global, you know, just, you know, Netflix, just the biggest companies in the world have me come in. And I'm on the microphone. It's always like a poker tournament, and I'm making fun of people. This guy hired me. I can't remember his name. Oh shit, I'm fired. You know, just having fun, rapping on the mic. You know what I mean? And you know, way up, I feel blessed. But Dancing with the Stars, I would have done that. And I started taking, when I found out I was up for it, I hired someone. I found someone in the Bay Area very quickly, and I learned how to dance, the very basics of how to dance. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, I didn't know that existed, and most people listening don't know what that is. But every song you listen to, 100% of the songs, if you listen, they'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And so then it's like step back, step forward, shuffle, 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 step back, step forward, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. So at the very basics, I'm like da da da. I'm like da 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 da. And so I'm like, so I learned. I spent 7-8 hours learning how to dance. I would have done that show.
Okay.
And they asked us a long time ago to be on, what's that show where you go on an island together? We said no to that. They asked us to be on Wife Swap.
Oh, like Temptation Island or Wife Swap or Survivor, something like that.
Yeah, not even Survivor, but it was even before those, way back, right after the Osbournes came out. I was starting to get some press, and they're like, "Wow, Phil's a great personality." So I had a lot of offers, and we decided it's going to screw up our kids forever if we do it. And my wife, is a doctor, and let's not talk about which university, but she's a doctor, and she's very, and she's not looking for fame. She runs away from the cameras,
Okay.
And so, and so right away we just couldn't do any of these shows. I think she would have been a big star because she's super reasonable and smart. And I think people would have been meeting her, on television.
Okay.
And but she's not interested, and so that's that.
Okay. So
Wife
a lot of
swap would have
people
been fun, I think. Come on.
with one of those celebrity crushes, right?
Well, no, we don't want that.
So a lot of people say that Chris Moneymaker winning the World Series main event in 2003 started the poker boom, so to speak, the Moneymaker poker boom. And that's the biggest reason for today's success and popularity of the game. If somebody else won that tournament, such as a Dan Harrington, a Phil Ivey, even yourself, would today's poker scene look different? And do you think we would have gotten to where we are now if someone else won that?
No, there's no doubt the moneymaker effect was huge. Yeah, huge for poker. And his name, the fact that he'd won on like a $10 buy-in or something,
Some
the
satellite,
fact
yeah.
that the fact that he was just, an accountant from Tennessee. And Chris Moneymaker, I'm proud of him. He's it's very tough to just come off the streets, win the main event, and be thrust into the spotlight and handle yourself well. And Moneymaker has handled himself well, and he's pretty liked in the poker world. And I think that's pretty hard to just come in like that and win over a lot of people. But Moneymaker's done that, and he was huge for our industry, and I really like him on top of it.
Okay. Something big you have going on right now, high stakes duel. You're up 2-0 on Daniel Negreanu. Round 3 is going to be June 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Poker Go. In round 1, Daniel had you down to a few thousand chips. And in round 2, he had a 3-1 chip lead on you. And in both situations, you came back and you won. So obviously, you're happy with the end result of winning both, even the comebacks you made to achieve those results. Now, looking forward to round 3 and knowing that Daniel is going to change some things, he's going to make some adjustments. He's watching videos and everything else that he does. What adjustments are you expecting from him, and what adjustments are you making, if any?
Yeah, these are questions I can't really answer. Just say that in the
Okay.
first, but I'll say this in the first match. I just wasn't very prepared. I just started studying. I just started looking at NFTs, and like that Wednesday, the match. Say we played on a Tuesday. I talked to 9 CEOs in 3 days, which is very intense. And
Yeah.
and I came in really tired, and every night I tried to go to bed. I was feeling pressure for the match, and I'm like, I have to deliver a message. Daniel's attacking whether or not I'm the greatest of all time or not, And I think it's clear that I'm the greatest of all time poker tournament player right now today. That might not have been the case 10 years ago, and it might not be the case in 10 years. But it's hard to take away. But he's tried to take a lot of that away. And he was also, being very condescending in that match. But because I wasn't sleeping well, and I felt like I had to tell everybody that that I am great, and that led to the Apex Predator line, which went global quickly.
Great line.
That led to me telling Nick Schulman, "Hey, I folded King 10 and King Jack when Antonio had King Queen. No one else on the planet would even consider that a fold."
Yeah.
So I mean, rather than jump up and down and celebrate and say, "Wow, what does Phil know that we don't know?" Or, "How did he do that?" Instead, it was like, "Oh, that's a bad fold." Well, I mean, somehow I just sensed Antonio was super strong, and and I made these incredible laydowns, and so I had to deliver these 2 sermons, and so I wasn't as focused on my strategy. And honestly, I didn't play my best the first 2 hours, and I kind of got myself low for no reason, and that's on me. And then to come back from that, I certainly played my best, but that's not an easy comeback to pull off. And so certainly if you're going to come back from 4,000 or whatever it was, 5,000.
Yeah, about 4,000. Yep.
If people said it was less than that, I don't know, but I mean, like, if it was 4,500, that's 95,500 to 4,500.
Yeah. It's a heck of a comeback.
And if it was less than that, then yeah, so it was a big comeback. We were still deep enough, but I mean, I put myself in a bad spot to start, and I didn't think I'd do that in the second one.
So you'll be prepared for you'll be prepared for round 3 based on the last two rounds. And let me just ask you, if you do win round 3, is that the end of it, or you guys will decide that after this next event on June 23rd?
I'm kind of like conservative guy, right? I put in 50,000, and then if I win this match, I can cash out 400,000. I sold some pieces of myself. I think I sold 10,000 in the first match, so I had 40 of my own money in there. The second match, I only sold 10,000, so I had 90,000 of my own money bet. And this last match, maybe I'll sell 10 or 15,000, so I'll probably have 185,000 of my own money bet, 190.
Okay.
So and so yeah, I mean, it's nice to get the 400,000 off the table.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Match, and Daniel's just so great at poker that if I can somehow beat him the third time, then I'm just gonna press the cash out button.
So on May 6th, somebody who just tangled with Daniel, Doug Polk, tagged you in a tweet, and he wrote 25,000 hands, 200, 400 heads up, no limit, 2 tables, 100 big blinds. I'll put up a free $1 million if you win. My 1 million to your 0. Come get some. How close of a reality is this? And if it's close, are there going to be some adjustments from the Daniel Negreanu Doug Polk match, or would those parameters be the same ones you have with him?
Yeah, so I told Doug that I'd play him. See, you have to use, like, I'm a little older and a little more wily, maybe. I was a young egotistical guy, right? So now, so someone like Doug, if like I think that he might lay me 10-1, but if I can get him to play a match to, like, I don't know, 15,000 hands, but one table online, where he has a huge advantage according to 99% of the world. He has a huge advantage. But if he lays me, like, then if that's the case, then maybe he'll lay me 10-1, right? And then I can bet 100,000 to $1 million, right? My friends will bet 300,000 or 400,000 on me too, getting 10-1 odds. And then if I can somehow if after 5,000 hands I'm way ahead, then 90% of the world's going to be shocked. Again. They're always shocked, right? I won 24 out of my last 26 matches against professional poker players, right?
And everyone's shocked, right?
They have me as an underdog in every upcoming match. So that's fine. I mean, that's fine with me. It does drive me and piss me off a little bit. Keeps a little chip on my shoulder.
Motivation.
What's that?
Motivation.
Definitely motivation. So yeah, no, I mean, I haven't come back to Doug yet. I need all my energy is focused on the Daniel match, and I think about that a lot, that match. And then about 5 days before. But anyway, I'll just say that, let's just say this, that match is really on my mind. And so and we have to play that match and see how it goes. But yeah, no, I mean, if Doug wants to step into the arena, then that's fine with me. But I didn't respond. I mean, he put out like a lyric for a song, and I came back with the second lyric because it was just kind of fun. And I like Doug a lot, actually. It's funny, I like Doug and I like Daniel. I get along well with both of them, and even though they can both be very critical of me, when we're together, we're having drinks, we're having dinner.
So, do you think that them being critical of you is just like a mind game, just to throw you off the next time you're playing against them?
I mean, I don't. Sometimes I wonder if Doug, every time he attacks me, he gets great ratings, right? So I think I don't think that I think that if he's attacked me 2 or 3 times, I think he actually knows that what he attacked me about, that it's not even a legitimate argument. But he, I see him also having fun, and I don't know. I really like Doug. Doug and I have had some fun bets between each other, and we've had some fun times. I don't know. I like hanging out with him. I like being with him.
Let me ask you. Last week you were in New York City with some big poker icons. There were photos of you at a private event, someone's house in New England was the tag, and you had Antonio Esfandiari, you had Scotty Wynn, and you had Daniel Negreanu. Who are your closest poker friends?
My closest poker friend has to be Mike the Mouth Matiso. I mean, I've got my group up here,
Yeah, no, I'm just
bouncing
talking
around.
that, in Vegas, those guys, when you get together, when you fly in.
Right. I mean, but you look at like, if you look at like, right. Oh, so okay. Outside of poker, I know that I gave my 15th bracelet to Bill Lee. I know that I'm giving number 16 to Sky Dayton. I know that I'm giving 17 to David Sachs. I know that I'm giving number 18 to Rick Thompson. These are kind of my guys, right, up
Okay.
here. But in the poker world, I talk to Mike Matusow 10 times as much as I talk to any other poker player.
Okay.
And Mike has a really good heart. Sometimes can be a little bit, he'd probably say this about me, sometimes can be a little bit difficult on the phone. I mean, I think sometimes he gets very binary, he says some interesting stuff, but generally speaking, I really like talking to Mike, and I think he has a really good heart, and he's a warrior. He's really smart. I can discuss poker strategy with him. One of the best Omaha 8 or better players in the world, if not the best tournament Omaha 8 or better player in the world. I mean, it's between him and 2 or 3 other guys.
Okay.
And so he's taught me a lot about Omaha 8 or better, and I've helped him a lot in his no limit hold'em game.
Okay. So last week you were in New York. You were visiting some family and friends. You did that event, and you posted a picture of yourself with your parents at a park in Westchester, which is basically down the road from me. Are you in this neck of the woods often, or is that just something that was random that you flew your parents in and you were doing the event and hanging out here for a couple of days?
Yeah, there's a hotel called the Opus. I guess you probably know where that is. Yeah, close to you. So, my sister lives close by. So,
Okay.
So for me, I kept going to New York. I do events for these really big hedge funds. The biggest of the big hedge funds hire me. I charge an outrageous amount of money to show up for events. I'm $50,000 a day. Negreanu's $50,000 a day. Antonio's up there, and so if someone's paying all 3 of us, they're a pretty big hedge fund, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of these events they spend $2 million on, and so.
Wow.
But for me, if I'm going to go to New York, I get hired to do something in New York once or twice a year in Manhattan, and so I always have fun there. And I just wasn't quite getting enough time with my sister and her children, and I was doing a bad job. I would see her for sure, but I'd see her 1 or 2 nights maybe. She'd come to my event, and then maybe we'd catch dinner, but that would be it. And so finally I'm like, you know what? If you're a family first guy, Phil, which I am, then you have to just start staying. So at Westchester is, it's 45-minute train ride, from Manhattan, 30-minute train ride.
Yeah, basically. For me, I'm in northern Westchester, so for me, it's about 55 minutes or so into Grand Central Station, Midtown. And I'm at the top of Westchester.
Went to. Yeah, this is the time I ever went to Manhattan and never saw Manhattan. 45 minutes away. I was supposed to hang out with this. I was hoping to get a little time with one of my crazy. I think he's the best investor on the planet. I mentioned names, but
okay.
He called me on the way out of town. He's like, "Why didn't you buzz me? Why didn't you put pressure on me to hang out?" And I'm like, So I mean, come on. I arrived there Wednesday night, Friday and Sunday family, and then Saturday night's the event. And so I mean, it was really nice. We were at the Mayflower, which I guess is a really hot place, maybe 2 hours away from Manhattan, where a lot of people are staying. Beautiful,
okay.
Beautiful. Used to be so yeah, it was a really nice event. We had fun. I had the microphone the whole night. Again, it's easier for those guys. They just have to sit and play. I'm walking around the room, blowing people up, calling people billionaires, teasing people, and kind of pushing the line a little bit. There's a kind of a famous billionaire in the room and his partner. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to call these guys billionaires, and they they're a little bit like, we don't like this, we don't like the press, but it's Phil, we'll put up with it, and everybody's laughing and having fun. My job is to add a lot of energy to the room, and I think they, I'm not talking about any names, any company names, but I think I have just 4 tables.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their employees, and
wow,
and it was just a really, really fun event. And Daniel and I, and Scotty and Antonio, after the event ended, everybody kind of went to bed early. These guys, but we kind of stayed there. We spent a half an hour. We spent maybe an hour, the four of us, drinking some scotch and chilling, and before we split up and went our separate ways.
Okay. Phil, I want to thank you for this opportunity. This, as a fan, as somebody with a podcast who's been doing this now for 10 weeks, and the magic number, and it comes across you a lot, is 10. 10 times something, tenfold, 10x. This is show number 10, and for you to be on it, it was great. I really want to thank you for this. You can follow Phil on Twitter at Phil_Hellmuth. His latest book, Positivity, You're Always in the Right Place at the Right Time, can be purchased exclusively on Amazon. And that line right there worked wonders for me in my kitchen when you emailed me. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time, and it worked out unbelievably. Look at what we just did. To see the third round matchup against Daniel Negreanu in the high stakes duel, you can tune into Poker Go on June 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern. Phil Hellmuth, I can't thank you enough. This has been amazing and serendipitous moment. That's your words. Serendipitous moment definitely describes this for me and the podcast. Perfect example of being in the right place at the right time. I can't thank you enough. You really are the GOAT. Good luck against Daniel.
For all
ladies
those
and gentlemen,
people at home that are listening, and I have a phone call in 1 minute here with a CEO of a big company here. For all those people listening, you are in the right place at the right time, and the quick story is two guys living next to each other. One of them comes up with the 8 perfect reasons for a sports bar. The next guy, the one guy says, Martha, please pass the peace. Doesn't do anything. Yep. The next guy goes and on the way home from work the next day, stops in his favorite sports bar. He's opened a door. It's a figurative door. It's a literal door. And so, folks, you're in the right place at the right time, and pursue your passion. I had someone tweet me that I changed their lives after reading my book. They went from a dead-end job to pursuing their dreams. So read Positivity, and good luck everybody out there.
Thank you very much, Phil. I can't thank you enough. The greatest of all time. Thank you for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, 15-time bracelet winner, Phil Hellmuth. Thank you very much. And everybody tune in next week for episode number 11.